Stephen Malcolmus has graced us with his presence one more time in the form of new band, the Hard Quartet. The song is called Earth Hater. Please, somebody tell me more about this project because I have no desire to find out for myself.
So, this is Stephen Malcolmus of the band Pavement, Silver Jews, Steve Malcolmus and the Jicks, other side projects over the years, with Matt Sweeney, a guy who is everywhere, has been everywhere, and will be everywhere forever and ever and ever. He's like the corner of a room. There's always one. Sometimes there's more.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? And two other guys, Emmett Kelly, who is a musician who I believe has just again been around the block, played with a lot of artists. He is on this project as a guitarist and singer. And Jim White, who is a drummer, who's also worked with a bunch of people. It seems. I don't know if they've, from what I'm reading now, I'm not sure if they have their own bands. Emmett Kelly, I think, has been in a couple of bands of his own. But mostly it seems to be like session musicians or I've just been around the block. So it's an interesting one. This was only announced fairly recently, the Hardcore Tet. And the fact that we already are getting music is pretty interesting, I suppose. But also, I guess, what else were they going to do? They weren't going to drag it out any longer.
I have an interesting fact for you.
He's got a fact here. Guys.
This song has been around for a while.
Yeah, I've seen someone say that might be
in
the
the
case.
form of a Jix tune. I'm finding this out through YouTube comments.
They're saying it's called Earth.
Of all knowledge. Yes.
See, okay, so I saw someone else comment that, and I also found an old recording of a song called Earth, but it was the song Chart Junk from We Got the Jagbugs.
No, sorry, I've lied to you there, mate. They just said a lost Jix number from 2014 to 2015.
Yeah. So there's a bit of speculation that they may have played this already, but what I'm mostly seeing is that they've had a song called Earth on their set lists before, but no one's necessarily linking that this is the same song. They just had a song called Earth. And as I say, there is one recording online, but it's just like an earlier version of Chart Junk. So who knows? But it probably has been around for a while. But that comes to the point I was going to make before, which is, this was announced suddenly. Bunch of seasoned musicians involved. What was it going to be? Hard Quartet gives this impression that it may be slightly heavier than you would possibly expect. Matt Sweeney, has been around. I don't know the others very well, but Matt Sweeney's played with, or is friends with people like Josh Homme, exactly, who had in mind sort of a bit more loud, heavier musicians than Malcolmus is known for. So it was unknown what was going to come. However, what has come is just somewhere else for Malcolmus to release his very particular brand of music.
Yes.
Now, I'm in one sense, I'm kind of relieved because I was concerned as to what this could have ended up sounding like if they were trying to do, I don't know, heavy metal, for example. A lot of people didn't really like traditional techniques, which Matt Sweeney was also a part of, because it was a lot more acoustic and a very different vibe to previous things. And I was a bit concerned that this may have gone down the same route, but in a completely different direction. So it's somewhat of a relief that it is just what we know and love from Malcolmus. However, is it the best we could have got?
Well, hopefully there's better stuff to come.
Yes, I think it's a very quick song, which is good.
Yeah,
that's very helpful. I think it sounds good. I think it's it's fairly interesting, but it's not blowing my socks off for a first single for this new project. Hopefully it's just a taste of what's to come. And if they stick to this sort of sound, I'll be happy with that. If they can get a bit more interested in terms of the actual song structure, which I imagine, although I think everyone's listed as songwriters, this sounds like a Malcolmus song. So I imagine...
on Apple Music it just says it's him as the songwriter.
Oh, there we go then. So, yeah, for Malcolmus, I don't know if this is as good as he can get, really. So
it sounds like an offcut that they've just decided to rework. And I don't know if that's because they wanted to get something out quickly, so they've just gone with something that was around already, and maybe they're working on more stuff now, but this was just to pass us over. I don't know.
I'd be very, very interested to see, hopefully at some point soon, some sort of interviews with the guys and to understand why this started, what the intent was, what the plan is, because especially if this is an old Jix knock around that's been around for a while, then
why is it not a Jix one?
Pardon?
Kind of thing. Why is it not a Jix?
Yeah,
tune, why has he decided to do this?
Why aren't they just writing new songs? Why has he brought this old thing on? Yeah. Or is it just that they were jamming and he was like, I've got these, it'd just be good to know what the kind of intention is behind what's to come, just in terms of expectations and stuff. But, I'm happy there's more Jig stuff. This has got a great kind of, a strong Jagbags feel to it, which is one of my kind of favourite albums from all the Jig stuff. So yeah, I'd be happy to hear more of sort of the same. I just hope it gets a little bit more interesting, maybe.
Yeah, same. And we may as well talk about it in a bit brief here, but Pavement put up a weird video the other day on their socials, and I just want everyone who's watching this video to this point to just keep your fingers crossed that we're going to get something new, because it was very ominous.
Yeah, very cryptic. Or was it? Or was it just a very light-hearted video? It's so hard to tell. From what I can tell, it's probably Steve West who's recorded that. Partly because of the drum kits. And there was something else in the video, I can't quite remember off the top of my head now, that pointed me towards it being him. So is it just that he thought that was a nice comment to make about the light getting stronger? Or is the light getting stronger and there's something coming? But what does this mean?
If Malcolmus is doing this, then
what does this mean? For all we know, though, although they've only just recently come onto Instagram with these videos of them in the studio for the Hard Quartet, that could have
been doing it for ages.
Could have been ages ago. Well, I'm assuming that those videos are from a long time ago, because unless they've done this in the past and they're now still doing stuff, which seems unlikely. Was it a one-time thing? I would guess so. I reckon this is going to be an album, and it's that. But who knows? Callum, tell us what you think.
Yeah, Callum, you've not stopped talking this whole vid.
You really now.
I mean, as we all know, I'm not really that well versed in the Malcolmus lore. From an outsider, I like the riff on this. I like the way it sounds. It hooked me into the song. It also is just... I know it's because of the vocal melody, but it just seems like every other Malcolmus song I've ever heard. And I'm not saying that it is. I'm not saying it's the same quality as some of the Pavement stuff I've heard, blah, 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 blah. But for me, it's just a Steve Malcolmus song, which I would like to get past one day. But there's so much of a body of work that it's hard for where I am right now.
Just off them again.
In fact,
a bit of a time.
Start at the top. That self-titled album is fantastic.
Yeah, like Liam said, I like the fact that it's 2.5 minutes. I think it's a good intro to whatever this is going to be. But even for me, it's not throwing up any surprises.
Yeah.
All the pedigrees.
All that. But I do really like... I like the intro, well, the riff that's playing throughout. I like the tone. Again, I kind of recoil a little bit when the vocals come in, but I'm definitely more immersed in that now. But I don't know. I could still kind of take it or leave it at the moment, but I'm much more open-minded to it now than where I was when we began this journey.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's nice to hear that Malcolmus still sounds as good as he did 30 years ago.
Still sounds the same as he did.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Still sounds the same as he did 30 years ago. There's like a few quite interesting little vocal moments in the song that it's cool to someone who's been around so long to still be kind of sounding fresh. But yeah, the kind of the main hook, I know I said this before to you guys, is something that was instantly recognisable to me from another song. That exact melody I know is in another song. I cannot place it for the life of me. not that necessarily means anything, but it doesn't help towards the whole sort of not reinventing themselves, really. I say themselves. He's not reinventing himself very much on this song. And, you know, it's a slight difference trying to compare this to something like Pavement and the Jick stuff, because, I mean, this is a lot of people have said this in many different ways, but the Jick's musicians are a lot more better than the Pavement musicians. It's the simplest word I can use there. You know, it's known that Malcolm wanted to do that because he wanted to get with musicians who were kind of a bit more familiar with playing, because Pavement were just sort of threw together at some point. So this doesn't feel like a massive departure, because these are also good musicians to Jick stuff. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the drumming's slightly different. I wouldn't expect this from, I think his name's Jake, the drummer from Jick's. But I was kind of half expecting when this came up to be the Smile Radiohead sort of thing. But it is just, it just feels like an extension of the Jick's, if I'm being honest. It doesn't feel like a kind of further exploration of his songwriting in that zone.
Yes, and I feel like that's all we can say without repeating it multiple times at this point. So thank you for watching this video on the Hard Quartet's debut, Earth Hater. We hope for more things and slightly better things. Leave a like on the vid, comment down below. You know, what's your favourite Malcolmus song? We'd be interested to know. And then maybe Callum will listen to that and get into it. Subscribe, ding multiple bells, but more importantly, the one that's on the screen. Not Liam's head.
Make sure you like the video an odd amount of times. That is so important.
You could just do it once.
Preferable.
And only ring the bell once as well, because that might change it.
I can't tell things. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just as long as that's clear. Okay. Goodbye.